Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. It's week 9 in college football, and this is the morning show that Jeff from Big Man on Campus, and I do every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Big Man, I haven't given any official picks all week, but I have some late plays that I'm definitely liking. Are you feeling good about this card?
I'm trying to, Peter. This show with you is like a black cloud for me. Last couple weeks, I've been doing terrible on it. Time to wake up. It's time to wake up and get going, Peter.
All right. Well, I don't know. I wasn't going to bring it up, but do you mind if I quote your record just in the last 3 weeks, Big Man?
No, I've been horrible on this show. It's there.
Right. Okay, let's see. Yes, over the last 3 weeks in this show, 5-21 I have on you. 5-21 against the spread.
Yeah, I've been horrible on this show. That's not a secret. Bet buffet, I'm up on my personal
Wow.
premium plays. I'm 60%. It's amazing. It really is.
All right, very nice. Well, my record overall on the year in college football, of course, I started off the year great, and I had a horrific week last week, and I am now, I actually also went 1-3 on Thursday. I did have a winner with Oregon State under, which was my big play of that day, but then I threw on irresponsibly 3 other plays. I'm now 68-61 overall on the year. That's still up 2 units. It's still up plus 1.5% ROI, but on today's card, there are a bunch of things that I think I'm seeing, so let's get into it. All right, Big Man?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so getting a little bit of a lag, but I hope that this comes out okay in the wash. The first game that I'm looking at here that did move. Let's see where it is right now. Yeah, okay. The first game I'm looking at here was my 3-unit play in 2-unit play. Sorry, in the Beat the Prick contest. It's a 12 o'clock game. It's the under in Texas Baylor. I got it at 57. It's now 57 minus 118 at BetOnline. Sportsbetting.ag appears to be headed down. Texas Ellinger is out at QB. Their defense is playing well. I think that Baylor is going to play relatively conservatively here, and I like it. It was my 2-unit play and Beat the Prick under 57 minus 118 Texas Baylor. What do you think?
Yeah. I think I like that. I think Texas is going to do the bulk of the scoring in this game, I would imagine. I think they've improved defensively. It's not a ton on my radar. I'm kind of staying away from the Big 12 a lot all of a sudden, but I'll be rooting you in on this one.
Mm-hmm. All right, under 57 minus 118, the current line at BetOnline and sportsbetting.ag appears to be headed down other places. That's going to be a pick of mine officially, and it is my 2-unit play in the Beat the Prick contest. All right, so let's see some other interesting 12 o'clock games. Rutgers, Michigan, right, Big Man? Of course, last year, remember, what was the final? It was 78-0. Rutgers, of course, been playing better recently. I did have Rutgers last week. That was one of my few winners last week. And also, my Michigan Michigan getting beat by Penn State was also one of my other winners. So this game involves 2 of the teams that I have been doing pretty well with, even through my down weeks. And I'm thinking that the over might be a good play here. Rutgers does have some playmakers, a few playmakers here and there on offense, and I feel like Michigan is trying to improve themselves and establish themselves on offense a little bit. Should be able to. It's a low total. I did bet this over, and at BetOnline sportsbetting.ag, it's 42 minus 115. What do you think about that?
Yeah, should Michigan really be laying this kind of number to anyone? This kind of reminds me of that Air Force game, Peter. It might be a little too many points. Like you said, that 78-0. I would imagine most of those kids aren't going to forget that game last year. They were battered in that game. They're much improved this year, Rutgers. I kind of want to take the points here. I feel like this is an Air Force type of situation, maybe 30-14 or something like that. But Michigan could really turn a switch, really could hurt them on the defensive side. Michigan's going to want to prove after last week that their defense is back. They could shut out Rutgers here, so it's definitely a tough one to gauge.
See, I'm thinking that Michigan's going to want to prove themselves more offensively than defensively and put up a little bit of a nice number. I'm not saying run up the score, but run it up enough to get over 42.
Yeah, and I don't think Rutgers is again being shut out was kind of that was kind of it could happen. I don't think it will. I think it's like I said, I think it's like a
Yeah.
41-14 type of game, something like that. I think it'll get up at over 42, 43.
All right, well, I'm throwing that one on there. Over 42 minus 115 is the current best line at betonlinesportsbetting.ag. Then let's talk about the 11:30 game, just because before it, there is a play that I bet on that one, and that one is about to kick off in 20 minutes. It's Buffalo and Akron. Now, I bet the under on this one. I bet it, I forgot the actual number that I got, but it went all the way up to 51 last night, and then I hit it again at 51, and now it's dipped back down to a 48.5, 49, or 49.5. I'm not at all sure what happened, what was up with the big move towards the over, but now it is headed back down again, which makes sense to me. And also a huge move in favor of Buffalo in this one. That one I'm not getting. Someone must be out for Akron. They were a favorite, 3-point favorite for a long time. Now it's 1.5, 2, or even some 2.5, 2 juiced in favor of Buffalo. I'm leaning under here, and I have no idea what's driving this huge move in favor of Buffalo. Do you have any insight into this one, big man?
I think it's got to have to do with Buffalo's quarterback. I think he's playing in this game, Tyree Jackson. I think he's been hobbling around, but from what I heard, I guess he's going to play. People like Buffalo here. That would be my only thought. I haven't looked much into this game. I think people really look at him and they like Buffalo, and he's been good for them, Jackson. If he plays, Akron's actually been pretty good as well, though. As an underdog at this point at home, I almost want to go with them here, but I do think that he may present a little bit of problem to that defense. They're a defense that I think is a little bit of a bend but don't break defense. Um, I don't know. How healthy is he? And I get it. The problem with Buffalo, Peter, is they don't have a lot of good beat reporters. Donnie Wright said that we're talking about Buffalo. It's hard to get a lot of good information on them. And in this business with these kind of schools, you kind of thrive on information. This school is tough to get information from. That could be a ploy, Peter, that he's playing, and he might play a series and go out. So it's a touchy game. But if I would do it, I would do Akron or nothing.
All right, well, I'm throwing that one on there as well on the under. I don't under. It was 51 last night. Now it's down to a 49, 48.5, or 49.5. The Pinnacle has 49.5 minus 118, so I'm throwing that one on there as well. So I've thrown on Texas Baylor under 57, Rutgers Michigan over 42, Buffalo Akron under 49.5, all from the early games. And then we'll talk about it in a second. But one other play that I was thinking about was let's talk about the Arkansas Ole Miss game. A ton of injuries on both sides here, and I was Ole Miss, of course, the key there is the new quarterback. He played okay in his time replacing the other quarterback, Shea Patterson, in his last game. This is his first start, and the question is, he had some good numbers at that school in Hawaii, and he looked okay in his first start. I mean, his first appearance in his appearance last week. Now that he's starting, will he be okay here, or will he get a little bit overwhelmed in a start here? I'm thinking that maybe Ole Miss might not lose as much of a beat as Arkansas will lose with all their injuries. Maybe Ole Miss is a play, and maybe a shot with the under. I know that Ole Miss, plays super high scoring games, big up tempo passing game, but I'm thinking that the under might be the play here. Wow, it actually has been dropping down a little bit, and maybe a shot with Ole Miss. What do you think?
Yeah, Arkansas's looked pretty dreadful, really, without Austin Allen, and it hasn't necessarily been their offense. I mean, they can do a little bit, but their defense has gotten shredded. I mean, you give up 48 points to South Carolina, 52 to Auburn. If they can Ole Miss find some semblance with this new quarterback, they should be able to score points. That's the concern, Peter, for me with Arkansas. It's not necessarily that they can't score points. They're giving up a ton of points. I think you look at this kind of on the surface and say, well, backup quarterbacks, so just be an under kind of game, which I understand. I just think both these defenses are pretty poor either way. So they'll make anyone look good. But yeah, you're right. You have another backup quarterback on the other side.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was actually leaning to the under, and it was I got it at 64.5, and now it has taken a small dip to a 63 or 63.5, and that's an interesting dip from my opinion, and I'm thinking that the under might be the way to go here, despite the fact, as you said, 2 weak defenses, and Ole Miss with their normal game plan when fully healthy is obviously a big high-scoring team and high-passing team. I'm thinking under here.
Yeah, that would be something it would make sense. 63 is high. I mean, and you don't have just one backup quarterback. At least with like an Auburn, when they played Auburn, they had their full capable quarterback and everything. These guys might take a while to kind of get into the game. And Cole Kelly has been very good as it is for
Yeah.
Arkansas. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good play.
All right, I'm on the under, and it's 63 or 63 and a half. The Greek and UWager have 63 and a half minus 110. Pinnacle has minus 111, so I'll throw that one on. Arkansas, Ole Miss under 63 and a half minus 110. Let's quickly talk about the Oklahoma State West Virginia game. Two big high-powered offenses, but as we know, or as I'm sure most of us know, they've actually trended under in their meetings over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's a high total here. This one is also taking a little bit of a dip down, but this dip to the under, I'm thinking that this year finally we might actually see a big high-scoring game that gets to the mid-70s and gets over. I know that they've played modest-scoring games recently when they've met up. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm thinking this year it goes over. What do you think?
Yeah, Peter, you cut out right when you said the game. What game are you talking about?
I'm sorry?
What game were you talking about? You cut out right when you said the game.
What'd you say?
The game. You cut
Oklahoma
out when
State,
you
West
said,
Virginia.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, early start here in
Yeah, Oklahoma State, West Virginia.
Yep, I got you here. Yeah, I think you're right. I think both these teams back and forth. They don't run the ball very often. I think this would be a close game. Possessions could be important, so they might slow it down a little bit on that level. But I mean, it's not a ridiculously high total. It's not mid 70s, high 70s. Both these, I mean, you're not going to slow down. West Virginia can't stop anyone. I'm not sure Oklahoma State could stop Will Greer. I agree with you. I actually have a similar one in this conference in another game. But yeah, I like that play.
All right, I'm going to take it. Actually, the Greek is now at 71, so I'm going to take Oklahoma State, West Virginia over 71 minus 110. So my picks so far, Texas Baylor under 57, Rutgers Michigan over 42, Buffalo Akron under 49 and a half, Arkansas Ole Miss under 63 and a half, and Oklahoma State, West Virginia over 71. Big man, what games would you like to address here and maybe give an official pick on?
Yeah, I'm heading down to the cauldron in this one. I don't want to give any plays out lately on here, but I'm going to. By the way, Peter,
You don't
I'm not
have
trying
to.
to scare. No, I will. I'm only kidding. Peter, listen, man. I'm giving out plays. What do the record's not been good lately. That's why I got to turn it around. By the way, Peter, I don't want to get you off a play or anything, but there's some pretty a good amount of rain coming towards Morgantown. So I don't know if that's gonna burn your pick or anything. You want to get off it, but I think it'd be good for a little. But from what some of the chat guys are saying, the weather's not particularly good down there in Morgantown.
Yeah, I actually, that kind of concerns me because where I check my weather for college football, I wasn't seeing anything particularly noteworthy as far as the weather is concerned. But then when I was doing my game research, some of the writers in the articles were mentioning that there was going to be bad weather, and I was looking in my weather notes and I wasn't seeing that. So I'm not happy about the site that I use to get my weather reports. But you're saying that there is going to be bad weather in that game.
Yeah, I think by the second half you'll see rain in this game. Rain's coming towards that area. I think in the second half you'll see that. But again, Peter, weather's not, as you know, I mean, a lot of it's about wind and things like that.
Right.
It's not that windy, but the ball could be a little slippery here. As far as
All right, I'll take it anyway. Over 71 minus 110. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say go ahead. Yeah, that seems fine. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt it too much, the weather.
All right, well, I'm going to be on that one. Over 71 minus 110 in Oklahoma State, West Virginia as another play. Is there any game that you want to bring up, or should I just keep rattling off picks here, Big
Yeah,
man?
I'm gonna throw out a couple, and I actually want to get your opinion. We were Gabe Morency and I were talking about this game, and I feel like I'm gonna look at this game and say, at the end of the day, why didn't I bet it if I don't? But it looks kind of trappy. I like Appalachian State here, minus 3.5 at UMass. I just think the class and them being a better football team is going to show here. I don't like laying big points at App State, in the 20s or 17, but in this spot, I just think they're really going to just show that they're a better team than UMass. UMass is a pretty good offense, but I think against a team like App State, they'll really struggle to move the ball. App State's a good defensive group. and I think they're going to go in there and really just pick apart UMass. I'm going to add that. What do you think on that?
Yes, I basically agree with everything you said. It definitely feels a little bit trappy, makes me a little bit nervous, but my lean would definitely be towards Appalachian State. I was sort of hemming and hawing about that one as I was handicapping it, and didn't wind up betting it. I didn't wind up betting it on the total or on the side because the game makes me just a little bit nervous. Obviously, UMass has been explosive offensively. That was one of the picks that I also had a winner with last week on their over last week. And this week, I don't know about the total. I'm thinking maybe it might be surprisingly low scoring. And yeah, I would definitely lean towards App State here. I agree with you. I think they're just a better team. So giving 3.5 on the road makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but not super uncomfortable. The best line would be 3.5 minus 103. Do you want that one?
Yep, I'm going to go with that one. I feel comfortable with it. I think it's a double-digit win for App State.
Okay, minus 3.5, minus 103. You want to hit us with another one, big man?
Yeah, I'm going to go to 1-19, 120. This is another one that I've been fading test this team. I'm going to go back to the well again. I think we got a pretty good spot here. I'm going to go Kentucky. I'm going to lay the points here as well with a home favorite. Tennessee's, Peter, I've just bet against them a lot. I mean, they're just not very good. They've scored 3 touchdowns in 20 quarters. They've really struggled to move the ball, and now their best running back, John Kelly's going to be out. I think for a team like Tennessee, again, this is a tough matchup. You got to face a pretty good run offense. They're giving up over 5 yards a carry this year, Peter. They've had a lot of trouble stopping the run, and they're only scored 9 points a game in conference. I just don't have a lot of feeling that they can go on the road and win a game here. Kentucky's bowl eligible with a win. I think that'll go a long way. They'll want to beat Tennessee at home here, in front of their fans. Give me UK here. I think they run all over Tennessee, a team that's had trouble stopping the run. I think it just gets worse for the Vols here. I'll go Kentucky minus the points.
All right, minus 3.5, minus 105. A little bit of bad news there. That was identified as a sharp public split by Brent from BetDSI, with the public on Kentucky and sharp action coming in on Tennessee at plus 4.5. Sharps only went 5-7 last week, though, so maybe that's nothing to be afraid of. Although before that, they did have a couple of really nice weeks in a row in college football. But apparently, sharp action came in on Tennessee, public on Kentucky. That game I have not looked at in depth because I'm only up to the 3:30 games right now. But that's certainly an interesting one. I'll look at it a little bit later and tweet anything out if I have a pick on that one, big man.
Yeah, well, I've actually largely gotten over the whole sharp thing. I don't think it really exists, but that's just my opinion. But again, yeah.
All
look,
right.
I mean,
So yes. So let's get back.
go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. There's a huge lag. We've changed our tech setup here without doing a tech test, so things are a little bit iffy right now. But yeah, no, I was going to say let's just get to finish up with the 12 o'clock and 12:30 games so that we get to them with a little bit of time. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go for it. All right, so once again, in the early games, I got Texas and Baylor under 57. That is my 2-unit play in the Beat the Prick contest, and that has definitely moved since we started this call down to a 55 or 55.5. So that's a nice sign. I got Rutgers, Michigan over 42. I got Buffalo, Akron under 49.5. I got Arkansas, Ole Miss under 63.5, and Oklahoma State, West Virginia over 71, despite concerning reports about inclement weather. Let's talk about the Louisville Wake Forest game, right? A very interesting game here. Maybe this is a spot where Louisville's underachieving is giving them a little bit of a low line, and they're a little low hanging ish type fruit to come in here and pick off a nice little win and cover. I was also thinking about a shot with the under, but that has gotten bet up a couple of units as well. I'm assuming that Wake Forest is going to have a relatively conservative game plan to keep the ball away from Lamar Jackson, and Louisville's defense looked a little bit better in recent weeks, so maybe a shot with the under and maybe a sneaky good play just on Louisville minus the points, timing a better performance here from them. What do you think? It's an interesting game.
Yeah, I mean Wake's played pretty well, but then again, you look at like they played well against Florida State and ended up losing. I mean, we've seen that Florida State isn't very good at the end of the day, and they ended up losing to them. Yeah, Louisville. Look, they're always an interesting team with Lamar Jackson. He's always a guy that can put a team on their shoulders. I I don't. I'm not a big Wake guy. This is a pass for me. I have no opinion on it. I'll root for you on this one if you have a play on it.
All right, I think I will. I think I'm going to give another play here, and it is going to be on the under, and that will be under. Let's see, 66 minus 105. The line is definitely headed up. I can understand why, but I'm not buying that line move right now, and I'm going to take the under 66 minus 105 in Louisville Wake Forest. Louisville Wake Forest under 66 minus 105. Pinnacle actually has a 65 and a half. Actually, you know what? I'll take that one. I'll take the under 65 and a half plus under 65 and a half plus 103 at Pinnacle in the Louisville Wake Forest game. And as a side, I would be leaning Louisville here, but I'm going to stay off it. Tough team to read, of course. Wake Forest not a great team to bet against, in my opinion. So I will take the under 65 and a half plus 103 Louisville Wake Forest. Then another 12 o'clock game that is definitely interesting is Miami against UNC. Miami obviously undefeated and looking to continue to stay so. A complete lost year from North Carolina. What's likely to happen here? It's North Carolina going to get blown out by 40 again, or is North Carolina going to play with nothing to lose? Miami be a little bit conservative and maybe a sneaky cover by UNC plus 21. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Probably they're going to play a little conservative like they always do. They are on the road here. They have a great defense, and UNC will probably play this as like their bowl game. They'll try to play hard here, but at the end of the day, they're just not very good. They have a lot of injuries. Offensive line's been a problem this year. Look, weather-wise, I'm almost half hankering to take another shot here with it over in a Miami game. I feel like they can score.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can get to the 30s here. I've had some trouble last week. I think I missed over by a point or two. The weather got get into it and was a problem. Yeah, I mean, I think North Carolina can put up some points here, but then again, can they? Miami's defense is pretty good. North Carolina seemingly quit over the last couple weeks. And you put up 7 points last week. I get absolutely crushed. It's been a tough season for Fedora. I thought it would. Peter, they're the worst team in the ACC, which I don't think anyone thought. I thought they'd be bad, but I didn't think they'd be this bad. But Miami just doesn't. They don't seemingly step on the throat very often.
Yeah, I mean the injuries have obviously been the story for North Carolina and also underachieving in on defense as well. And interestingly, the over 51 was apparently a sharp play on this one. Now it's up to 54 and a half or a 55, but some sharp action did come in on the over on that game. All right, and now let's talk about Wisconsin, Illinois. Obviously, Illinois is a very feeble team this year. Wisconsin very strong. They do have a bit more of a dynamic offense this year, so they can put up more points than normal. They could run this score up if they are motivated to. I'm not quite sure that they are motivated to run the score up. Total has gotten bet up a little bit. It was 49. I was thinking maybe a shot with the under. Now it's all the way up to 51 or 51 and a half, which is interesting. Do you have anything to say about the Wisconsin-Illinois game?
Yeah, I don't think Wisconsin's going to do much in the way of scoring in this game. I'm going to take a shot with this one and go under. I think at 51, you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wisconsin will do the bulk of the scoring here. I think they'll put up high 20s, low 30s. I don't think they'll be really gutting to blow them out here and win by a margin, 40, 50 points. I think Illinois will be hamstrung to score in this game. They've struggled all year with their quarterback position. They're actually a decent defense. They're not terrible. I'm going to lean under in this game. I'm going to hope that they can keep it, 38-13, something like that. We get out of there with a cover, or
right.
28-13, something like that.
You want to make an official pick? Official pick or not?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Okay, 51.5 minus 110 is the best line at Heritage. Split line, 51 or 51.5 market wide. So we'll give you 51.5 minus 110. And other 12 o'clock, the other than the 12:30 game is Virginia at Pittsburgh. This is a very interesting one. My sense is that the offenses might match up well with the respective defenses involved here. And of course, Pittsburgh, they have that running back, that new running back that they had, who had a great game last week. Has a pretty good character overall, just kind of an impressive guy. I also feel like Virginia's passing game probably makes a bounce back here. So I'm actually leaning to the over on this one, even though I know that both these teams play relatively modest scoring games in general and when they meet up. But I took a shot with the over. It's all over the map here, 48.5, 49, 49.5, and the Greeks still hanging 50. So I would lean over 48.5 at the betonline sportsbetting.ag books. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, Peter, I actually have a little bit of info in this game. I actually, I think if you're handicapping, a good thing to do is a lot of the time listen to the press conferences midweek from coaches. The Virginia coaching staff didn't do a good job. They actually admitted they didn't do a good job. A lot of these players in this game on Saturday for Virginia were they were all excited. They were going to go to a bowl game. They kind of just went into the game thinking it was going to be an easy win against Boston College, and they got their asses kicked. I think this week you see a more concerted effort from them. They basically said, we're going to take it one game at a time. They haven't made a bowl in a long time, so I think they were looking forward to that, thinking that they were just going to beat up BC. But we saw BC's a pretty good team. I think they have a more concerted effort today. They go into Pittsburgh with a better mindset. They have a good passing game, pretty good defense as well. They just have to learn how to run the football. They've had trouble doing that. And I think last week they kind of were to watch the tape and they could see Pittsburgh had some big runs in that game, kind of broke off some big ones. I'm not sure that they'll do that today. I think Virginia will win, and I think they'll get eligible for a bowl today. And they'll beat Pittsburgh, 27-20, something like that. 31-21. I think they'll pull away and win this one and get the chicken.
Yeah, I was Virginia was one of my big losers last week, as was the Pittsburgh-Duke game. I had Duke. Pittsburgh got a big win there. I had Virginia. That was a terrible call. And if there is supposedly a significant rain in the forecast for West Virginia, then there's probably decent rain here expected as well in Pittsburgh. They're very close geographically, and I think that would affect the Virginia-Pittsburgh total more than the Oklahoma State-West Virginia total. So that concerns me, big man.
Yeah, no, weather's going to be a problem not only today but tomorrow with the NFL. There's a lot of rain coming around here.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that I wasn't that the site I used to check. I used to use Weather Underground, and they stopped giving individual college football game previews. And the site that I've been using did not really do a good job alerting me of the inclement weather in the West Virginia Pittsburgh area. So yeah, I would agree with you. My sense is that Virginia it does get the win here. They're now 1.5 or 2. It's just that Pittsburgh has some life to them, right? And just in general, Virginia just doesn't do well when they travel. They've never done well when they played at Pittsburgh, and they just don't really do well in these big NFL stadiums historically. And they just haven't done that well against Pittsburgh when they've gone on the road there in recent years.
Yeah, no, I understand. And again, Virginia hasn't been a very good team over the last couple years. This is their best team in a while. And I'm hoping that they can go on the road here and get the job done. I think they will.
All right, so let's look at the rest of the card. We've touched on every single 12 o'clock, 12:30, and 11:30 a.m. game. Just to review right now, so far, the official picks we've given. Big Man has Appalachian State -3.5, Kentucky -3.5, and Wisconsin, Illinois under 51.5. I have given Texas Baylor under 57, which has already moved significantly. Rutgers, Michigan over 42. Buffalo, Akron under 49.5. Arkansas, Ole Miss under 63.5. Oklahoma State, West Virginia over 71. Louisville, Wake Forest under 65.5 plus 103. All right, let's look around at some of the other games on the card. The first one that jumps out at me, Air Force against Colorado State. I know you have a very good read usually on these service academy teams, and here this is a spot. Colorado State off of two huge ATS margin losses, where they were way overvalued, and now going up against Air Force, always very tough as an underdog. Obviously, Colorado State has a very potent team still. But is Air Force maybe a good bet here, getting 10? I did bet them. I missed the 11.5 on the opener, but I did bet them at 10. Now it's still 10 or 9.5 market wide. What do you think, big man?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to move the ball. I mean, Colorado State's not a particularly great defense. I kind of like, as you've talked about this one, I kind of like the over. I mean, Colorado State's been able to move the ball against really anybody, and they don't really stop anyone. Air Force, same team. They're going to be able to move the ball. I don't like Air Force, though, anywhere else other than home. I like them in like that adverse situation where they get a team coming in that maybe doesn't understand or is familiar with their weather patterns and things like that. I kind of lean over, but I'm not really looking to lay points with Colorado State right now. They're a team that seems to keep teams in it defensively. They really let a lot of people down against Nevada a week or two ago. Didn't play well in that game. It's a pass for me, but I kind of like the over, lean over.
Okay, I'm going to pass on that one as well. Now let's talk about the big Georgia-Florida game, and I'll tell you what I did, big man. Obviously, it's a majorly down year for Florida. We know that Georgia is flat out awesome this year and probably qualifies as legit elite, if not quite on Alabama's level. I was handicapping this game, and you know what I did, big man?
What's that?
I took the records. I took the stats, I took the analytics, and I threw them out the window. And I made a bet on Florida. I didn't get 14, but I did get 13.5. Rivalry game. I took Florida getting double digits. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Look, I mean, Florida struggles to score, Peter, and they're 95th in the country offensively. Georgia's great defensively. I mean, Georgia's just not really giving you any reason to fade them, really. I don't. I get where you're going. I think it is a rivalry game. It is one of those games that you would think would be close. And I think if you're Florida, I mean, if this game doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. The problem with them is they've really skirted by in certain games. I don't know how good they really are, but yeah, I mean. Georgia's won the last 4 games by an average score of 43-11. So I don't know. I'm leaning under in this game. I think it's a real squeaker kind of game, but I hear your points. I don't think stats are going to mean a whole lot here. I just think Georgia's really good, and I'm not really looking to step in front of them. I want to see how they play in a game like this, kind of off a bye, a game that's definitely got some history. I want to see how they come out and play in this game.
All right, yeah, I'll hold off on that one for now. I'll think about it. That's a big question mark for me. A similar game where you have kind of a better team on the road going up against a home underdog, where I also bet the home underdog. This line has moved against me, though, is Indiana-Maryland. Indiana, of course, a lot of potential this year. Their defense is great, but they've had a lot of injuries on offense and sort of underwhelmed offensively. Maryland, we know the issues that they've had at quarterback. Their quarterback is still not very good, but I'm thinking in this spot, adding it all together, Maryland probably a good bet or a better bet than not to keep the game close. I'd love to be getting 7, which I'm not right now, but there are 6.5s most places. The Greek is holding tight at 6, and I'm thinking that I'm going to give Maryland. I definitely bet it. I bet it at 5.5. Now it's up to 6.5, and I'll give Maryland plus 6.5 plus 102. What do you think about that one, big man?
They've had quarterback problems all year. Maryland, Indiana's kind of really faded. I thought they'd be a little bit better of a team this year. They've kind of struggled. I mean, ever since that game against where they were just wiped out in the second half against Ohio State, they really haven't been very good. I mean, they only have 3 wins on the year. I'll tell you what, I mean, as you're getting later in the year, Peter, you're starting to get to the point where you're going to see if teams are going to be bowl teams or not. I mean, they have 3 wins, I'm sorry. They have some winnable games coming up here. If they want to make a bowl, they're going to have to win and get the job done in games like this. The problem is the spread's 6.5 and it's not pick 'em. So for me, it's a pass, a middling Big 12 game. With quarterback problems on one end, I'll kind of avoid this one.
All right, well, I'm going to make it an official pick. Maryland plus 6.5 plus 102 at betonlinesportsbetting.ag. I'll throw that one on there. If I was going to bet it right now at 6.5, I'd probably buy up to 7 and get about minus 120 or so. But I'll take 6.5 plus 102. And then here's another pick that I'm definitely liking, kind of a low underneath the radar game, but kind of interesting. As we know, Georgia Southern fired their coach, right? A coaching change, which of course, had to happen. I mean, they were a complete disaster. One of the worst teams in college football. The offense was not working. Fired their coach. Now they're going up against Troy. And I think I'm liking the over here quite a bit. I think that Troy's passing game should be improving against weaker defenses as the year goes on. And I also think that in this spot, just in this game, Georgia Southern's offense will probably take a bit of a step up. They should be able to contribute some of their points to make this game go over. I bet it at 50. It's now 49.5 or 49, and I will definitely make this one an official pick at betonlinesportsbetting.ag over 49 minus 105 Georgia Southern Troy. What do you think, big man?
Yeah, I think with the coaching change, I mean, you'll get a little bit more out of Georgia Southern. The problem is their quarterback Shea Wertz has been in and out of the lineup. He's been hurt. Uh, yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because Troy's so good defensively. I think they could really shut down Georgia Southern. Uh, Coaching changes usually work, but with a team like Georgia Southern, I mean, this is probably going to be a bowl game type of game for them, though. They're 0-7. They're facing big bad Troy. Troy, we've seen can really not surprise. I mean, look at that game against South Alabama. As far as your total, I think Georgia Southern is what they are, Peter. Unfortunately, I just don't think they're very good. They're not going to be able to move the ball. Troy's a real good run defense, and off that game against, the game they had against South Alabama, I don't think they're going to come in here with the mindset that they're just going to roll over Georgia Southern. But it could see a situation where they could put up 40 plus points, and Troy could give up 10 or 12, and the game will go over the total. So yeah, I kind of like Troy here, but for me, it's just too many points. Sunbelt teams are hard to lay 25 plus points with.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with your analysis about the coaching change and not necessarily benefiting Georgia Southern as it might benefit other teams. But I do think that the coaching change might have more of an impact on the total, and I think Georgia Southern, at least in this game, might be able to do something a little bit more offensively. So I'll make that one an official pick. Georgia Southern Troy over 49 minus 105. Then another pick that I'm liking, big man. Tell me what you think about this one. UCLA Washington, right? Now, Washington, of course, coming off the embarrassing, shameful loss, and then a week to stew on it, right? To stew over it. And the question is, how do they bounce back here? How do they respond against UCLA? My sense is that they clamp down on defense, make sure they play, they get this win, make sure they don't get burned by Josh Rosen. And I'm liking the under here. I did bet it at 59.5. I didn't get the opener of 62, but I did bet it at 59.5. Now it's down to 58 or 58.5, so I don't like that it keeps creeping down. But I'd be leaning under here. What do you think, big man? I know UCLA, a terrible defense, but I think Washington control the pace of this game and make it modest. What do you think?
Yeah, and Washington goes pretty slow pace-wise. I mean, they just don't run up and down the field. But UCLA, I mean, they're just so dreadful on defense. And you mentioned that they're off a loss, Washington. I think they could bomb away on this secondary, Peter. And look, UCLA, they're never going to be out of, they're never going to just quit on a game. I mean, they're always going to be, throwing the ball downfield. And they just don't run the ball, UCLA. They're they abandon the run fairly early, and they've made a point of that. That's why this spread's so hard to lay, because I could see this game being a 20-point game for Washington, and UCLA comes through the back door with a late touchdown. I just can't bet unders in UCLA games. I wish you would do with this one. I get a feeling that Washington kind of attacks that secondary and has a lot of success. I just don't think UCLA has the ability to stop anyone.
All right, so I understand. Good points. That's why the total is where it is. But I'm going to take a shot with the under 58.5 minus 110 at the Greek. Under 58.5 minus 110 at the Greek. All right, now let's talk about the two huge primetime games. Huge marquee matchups at 3:30, North Carolina State and Notre Dame, and Penn State, Ohio State. I'm sure you've discussed this and thought about it ad nauseum over the week. Penn State, Ohio State, there was reported sharp action on both sides of this spread. Well, according to Brent from BSI, Sharps took Ohio State at 6.5. Sharps took Penn State at +7. So the Sharps are split as far as the side is concerned. My take on this one is I've been liking the under. Not necessarily a great play, but I did bet it. Good enough to bet. Still at 57.5 where I bet it. And what's your take on it? Penn State, Ohio State. Big man, go.
I got to tell you, man, it really worries me about what Urban Meyer was able to do on a bye week to figure out Saquon Barkley. I just can't. He seems to me like a guy that he's like a Bill Belichick off a bye. I just really don't want to get in front of him, really. You're in the horseshoe here against a team in Penn State who, look, personal feelings aside, I just still wonder about how good they are. I know they took it to Michigan, and I'm going to give them that respect. But it was at home against a team with no quarterback. They did what they wanted against that defense, and that has to be talked about. I think McSorley is not McSorley. Yeah, McSorley's better than people might think. I think the receivers are pretty solid, but I just wonder how Urban Meyer's great off a bye, 8-1 against the spread since he came to Ohio State. I just think they're going to kind of avenge that bad loss to Oklahoma and get a big win here and really vault themselves into that playoff talk. I don't say I'm not going to say they're a fraud, Penn State, but I think they kind of are. I think we're going to see that tonight. I think they're going to lose by 13 here. I think Ohio State will pull away towards the end. I think Saquon Barkley will have his worst game of his year. I'll tell you, though, if he has a good game, give him the Heisman now. I just think Urban Meyer will have a game plan for him. They're 11th in the country. I'm sorry, 14th in the country against the run. I think they will figure out what Michigan wasn't able to.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, and I told this to Brent when I did the DSI call. I said when I heard that there's sharp action on both sides, I would tend to agree with the sharp action on Ohio State, because I can understand why the sharps would like Penn State. Obviously, it's the numbers would probably indicate this is going to be a close game. Sharp action came in on Ohio State. That says to me that those guys know something specific about this game, and I would agree with you. I'd be leaning Ohio State as well, but I'm going to take the under 57.5 minus 110 in this one. I think it should be a little bit more modest scoring. Not loving it. Could easily see it sneaking over late, but I'm going to take it under 57.5 minus 110. Penn State, Ohio State, and then the NC State Notre Dame game. I feel kind of the same way about. I'm liking the under on this one. Although in this one, I think that the underdog might be the way to go. Obviously, Notre Dame, awesome, unstoppable. But if anyone can stop them, it is NC State's defense off of a bye. They're probably also going to play very efficient offensively as they've been all year long. And I'm kind of like an NC State here and maybe a little bit more of the under. What do you think, Big Man?
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. I think you're right on the under. What a sharp play, Peter. You're a sharp guy. I got to tell you, I don't care what anybody says about you. I think you're a sharp guy.
Yeah, I'm not bad. Even wait. You said I don't care what anybody says about me. Who said I wasn't sharp? Who that said I wasn't sharp?
No, I'm really just talking about. I think you're always a little down on yourself for some reason. I think you're a great capper, Peter, and I think you're a little bit better than you might give yourself credit for. I remember when we used to do videos, you would always say to me, you'd always say, you know what, Jeff from BMOC wins. I'm not a good side guy, but I'm good on totals. I think you're better than people might think. Peter, I don't know if you know this, but I'm one of the longest tenured people at SBR that's done videos with you. It's been 3 years, and I've enjoyed the minutes with you, Peter. I think you're a great capper, and I think you're dead on the money with this game. I think this game stays in the 20s. I think this game is played within a touchdown, but I got to tell you, if you like NC State, you missed the boat on this one. You could have got 7.5 early in the week. That's where I got it. And I will tell you, though, I think this is a 28-24 type of game. I don't think it gets into the 60s, which is going to have to do to get over here. I think you have a sharp play there, Peter.
Yeah, I actually also bet NC State, but I did miss the boat. I didn't get the 7.5. When I got it, it was 6.5. So I bought up to 7, and I think I got 7 minus 122 or something like that. So I missed the boat on that one a little bit, but I like the under a little bit better anyway. And I will take that one, add that one to my official picks at Pinnacle right now, 59.5 minus 112. So I'm going to add that one on there, under 59.5 minus 112. So I got a whole bunch of picks here on this card that I've finally added. One other game, there's 2 other 3 o'clock games that are very interesting. We got to get to them quickly. The Kansas State game, regular viewers know that even though overall I am still positive in college football, a couple of my big, notorious, high-profile losers have been taking Kansas. I thought they were going to be better this year than they have been. Now, a rivalry game. Obviously, this is Kansas' Super Bowl right here. I got to tell you, Big Man, I don't know. I'm not so good at sides. I'm leaning Kansas here, 24.5. What do you think?
I've given Kansas a shot or two. I've taken shots with, I think they could score. The truth of the matter is they've gotten outscored 88-0 over the last 2 weeks. 88-0.
That was on the road, though.
Right, and then the game before at Texas Tech, they give up 65. Then they give up 56 to West Virginia. They stink. They're the worst defensive. Peter, let me ask you a question quickly. How is your basketball team so good How is every other good basketball program have a capable football program? Duke has one. USC has one. All these basketball teams have one. Kansas doesn't. Yet they give their coach a pay raise. I don't understand it. Kansas football sucks. The only thing you have here, though, is a good old Bill Snyder. Probably won't run the score up, I would think. It doesn't seem
Right.
like the kind of guy to do that. But it's Kansas. They could lose 27-0 here, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. With the quarterback problems K-State has, Ertz, I haven't looked up into his condition. If he's in there, I'd be more interested. But without him, I got to tell you, gun to my head, I would agree with you here. I don't want to do it, but
Yeah, I mean,
at what point will Kansas play well? I mean, this has to be the time, right?
right. See, here's my thought. My thought is just those huge blowouts on the road. You know, a team like Kansas, when you know you're overmatched and you're getting beat down on the road, or even at home against a top team, sometimes, you know, psychologically or maybe even consciously, you just quit. You say, all right, we're not going to win this game. Let's just like check out during the game. Now it's a different situation because they're back at home. This is their Super Bowl, and if there's ever a game where they're going to leave everything on the field, this is going to be it. And like you said, even if Ertz plays, you know, he is. If Ertz plays, I feel like this is almost like a preseason or a rehab game for him. They're not going to take chances with him, especially if they get up, 2 touchdowns or more. So I'm thinking that Kansas is the play here. You know what? I will throw it on one more time. It's 24.5 at betonlinesportsbetting.ag, but I will take the Greek line, which is 24 minus 105, and I will throw that one on my official record. Kansas plus 24 minus 105. It might be stupid, but I have my reasons, and I just said what they are. I'll take it. Kansas plus 24 minus 105. Just assuming that Kansas State's going to play a relatively conservative game, not try to get any more injuries, and that Kansas is going to give everything they got. I'll take it. Kansas plus 24 minus 105.
May God be with you on that one, Peter.
All right, and then the other game is San Jose State BYU. Of course, 2 terrible offenses, or 2 terrible teams in general. Interestingly, though, Brent from BetDSI told us that sharp action came in on the over, driving this line way up. The over came in at 46.5. Now it's gone way up. San Jose State does get back their quarterback. It should make their team better. They opened at about 14. It's now down to 9 or 9.5. The Greeks still hanging 10. I would maybe be leaning San Jose State here, although you don't quite know how quote unquote up for this game BYU will get. But they're a bad team. San Jose State gets back their dynamic quarterback, which should help. You have anything to say about that one?
Yeah, before I do, Peter, I don't know if you have access, but I think your friend Wang Joe's made an appearance back into the chat here. I know he's a friend of yours. I don't know if it looks like him, though. I remember watching your shows in the past.
Yes,
so
one of my best friends in the world.
Yeah, we'll say hello to him. But yeah, this game, Peter, I mean, what a shit show this is going to be. San Jose State and BYU. I mean, BYU's laying points for a reason here. I would think this is the game where they finally play well, but that goddamn offense is brutal. Makes your eyes bleed. Really, it's a stay away game for me, Peter. I don't have much on this one.
Let's talk about some late line moves on the 12 o'clock games. Of course, Big Man, I said that I made the Texas Baylor game my 2-unit play in the Beat the Prick contest. I bet it, and at the beginning of the show, it was still 57, minus 118 at betonline.sportsbetting.ag, so I took that one. It is now all the way down to 52 at Pinnacle. The Oklahoma State-West Virginia game, I took the over on. I did bet that one, and I took the over despite the fact that there are reports of wind. When I took it in the beginning of the show, it shows you how fast these lines move. 71. It's now all the way up to 74.5, 75, or 76 at betonlinesportsbetting.ag. So 2 huge line moves in favor of my picks. The Wake Forest Louisville game total has not moved, and the Rutgers Michigan game has not moved either. But 2 nice big line moves in my favor, Big Man. What do you think about that?
Well, Peter, I don't know how many times I have to say it. You're good at what you do.
Yeah,
you really are. I got to ask you about this one, Peter. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. You've had you and Gavassi have talked plenty about Arizona. I mean, have you looked into that game against Wazoo much? I'm thinking about Wazoo here. I've had a good read at times and a bad read at times with them, but I feel like they're the team to give Tate problems. I mean, they have a good run defense, high level passing offense that could give Arizona plenty of issues. It's a cauldron heading in there. Tucson's a tough place to play all of a sudden. Did you look at that one at all?
Yeah, looked at it a lot. I mean, I got burned taking Arizona last week. I had them minus 2.5. Of course, they won by 1, so I had to eat a loss on that one. That was one of my losses. Joe Gavazzi likes Washington State here. It's now down to 1 or 1.5. And that game, I might look into a little bit more. It's a 9:30 Eastern time start, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to stay way the F off of that one. Probably going to be a pass for me. Maybe a shot with the over, but I'm probably staying way off that one, big man.
Yeah, I think I might do the same. I want to take Wazoo here, but I get the feeling this is going to be a real barn burner for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to add one
All right,
more,
so
Peter.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with. I'm going to add this one. I just don't see how it doesn't go over. I mean, it might come up short, but I'm going to feel dumb if I don't do it. I'm going to go over in Oklahoma and Texas Tech. I know they've really Texas Tech kind of went. They've kind of learned to run the ball a little bit more and that kind of thing. But I just think it's going to be balls out here. Oklahoma's going to throw the ball a ton, as we know. I think Texas Tech's going to be forced to do it. They'll probably be down in this game. Last year, 66-59. I know that doesn't mean much, but I just don't see how this game doesn't get into the 40s for both teams. I think it's like a 52-38 type of game, something like that. I'm going to go over. I made a case for it on the Bet Buffet video that I do. I can get 74 at Bookmaker. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, 74 minus 110 at Bookmaker Bet DSI. I would tend to agree with you. I did make that case in the video with Joe Gavazzi, and Joe Gavazzi also recommended Texas Tech getting all those points, and I would tend to agree with that one as well. I might have some official picks on that one before kickoff, and if I do, I'll tweet them out. All right, so let's review all the plays that we've given today. Big Man, give you one final chance to add anything on or add any other comments, and then we'll wrap it up. Big Man, so far, 4 picks from you. Appalachian State minus 3.5, Kentucky minus 3.5, Wisconsin, Illinois under 51.5, and Texas Tech, Oklahoma over 74. My picks, Texas Baylor under 57, Rutgers, Michigan over 42, Buffalo, Akron under 49.5, Arkansas, Ole Miss under 63.5, Oak State, West Virginia over 71. NC State, Notre Dame under 59.5, Kansas plus 24, Louisville, Wake Forest under 65.5 plus 103, Maryland plus 6.5 plus 102, Georgia Southern, Troy over 49, UCLA, Washington under 58.5, and Penn State, Ohio State under 57.5. And borderline is Florida plus the points. Big Man, you have any other picks you want to add or final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to just stick with the 4 I have. Try to cut down on the amount of plays. I'm not in love with the card this week, so I'm going to root you in. Hopefully I can go 4-0 to try to get some units back, Peter.
All right, I am a little bit in love with the card, and I'll hold off on the Florida pick. I've made a decision on that one. I've got a whole bunch of picks that I've thrown on. If there's anything else that I'm liking from the rest of the card, I will tweet it out and add that to my record. Big Man, thanks once again for doing the call, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Peter. Thanks.